What happens if you take an old e-reader and swipe one of the rarest English Pokemon cards through it? We take a journey that goes to Japan and back to find out. You may or may not be familiar with the 4-position only Pokemon cards, also known as FPO. These were a rare set of test print cards that heralded the coming of the Japanese E-series Pokemon cards to the United States. After they were made, they were supposed to be discarded as trash, but a few Wizard of the Coast employees surreptitiously saved them. Since that time, the few copies that have left have soared to astounding prices and been snapped up by enthusiastic collectors. But beyond being just expensive, these cards also hold a mystery. If you'll notice, these cards have a barcode that can be scanned on an e-reader device. What exactly is stored in that data? In this video, my goal is to find out. Many of you probably know the E-series cards as those beautiful, obnoxiously expensive cards that have that weird asymmetrical stripe of space on their left side. What exactly is that space meant to do? The bottom and left side of e-reader cards, at least on non-holo cards, are actually meant to hold two separate barcodes of data. The short side barcode actually contains 2.4 kilobytes of data. Swiping this short side would give you a Pokédex entry of that Pokemon. The longer vertical edge, which held about 6 kilobytes of data, could be used for many other purposes such as playing minigames. It might shock you to learn that there's actually 38 games that could only be played with the e-reader Pokemon cards and an e-reader. If you're interested, I recommend you search online for some videos of them. The vintage graphics and some of the clever mechanics are really cool, and it's a shame that not more people know about them. I'm getting a little off topic, so let's go back to the FPO cards. Now, as I mentioned before, e-reader cards in 2001 had already been circulating in Japan. In preparation for bringing these e-reader cards to the US in 2002, Wizards of the Coast secretly made a series of 8 test print cards to try out the new formatting with the bulging left border. These became known as the FPO cards. All were cards that were printed later in the English Expedition set, with one exception. These cards were Alakazam, Ampharos, Arbok, Blastoise, Charizard, Clefable, and Dugtrio. Lastly, there was one US exclusive card called Manhole. We'll talk about that more later. While at first the FPO cards look pretty similar to the Expedition cards, if you look closely, there's some pretty glaring differences that will later be corrected. For instance, any card that has Pokepowers on it repeats the word Pokepowers. This will be deleted in the released version. In Alakazam's case, Pokepower is actually the wrong color. In Charizard's card, the HP next to 100 is missing. All of the FPO cards also have this weird center spacing that would change to a normal spacing in the final version. This is most obvious on Dugtrio's card. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that there's an E symbol, and in the FPO cards, there's actually a little word medium next to it that's actually not there in the final. The final difference brings us to the crux of this video. Did you notice that in each of the FPO cards I've shown you so far, there's been a vertical data stripe on the left, even though some of the final release versions of the card didn't have one? Amazingly, in all the Bulbapedia articles, YouTube videos, and E4 forum posts that I sorted through, no one had made any mention of what actually happens if you scan those stripes through an e-reader. I was burning to find out from the curiosity. Was the code, maybe it was just gibberish and a placeholder? Or even more wild speculation, what if the devs hid like a hidden minigame or something there? I had to find out. My first job was to actually get a series of FPO cards. I somewhat lucked out on eBay because there was a seller selling a complete raw set. Luckily, because of the size of my purchase, eBay authentication was available and the cards passed eBay authentication. I already previously own an e-reader, so I'm just ready to swipe it as they are. Well, let's do a little drum roll and here we go. History's gonna be made.
Region error. Region error. Region error.
Wow, that was unexpected. So it looks like there is a code there. It's not a read error, but it's saying that it's the wrong region. It must mean that this FPO code probably only works with a Japanese e-reader. This would make sense, as the error message is the same as when you try swiping a Japanese e-reader card through an English e-reader. Since I'm really curious what the code is, the only thing for us to do is to get a Japanese e-reader. It's only really about $15 or $20 online, but coincidentally, I had planned a trip to Asia already with a stop in Tokyo, so I went out of my way a little bit to Akihabara and found a working Japanese e-reader for about 1,500 yen. Okay, so that only took about a month, but finally we can swipe the card with a Japanese e-reader. Okay, let's do the short side first. Drumroll again, please. Wow, it's the data entry for Rapidash of all Pokemon. Rapidash isn't even one of the FPO cards. I'm guessing that they probably took the templating for the card from a random Japanese expedition card and they just chose Rapidash. Now how about the long side? Okay, so it's a Rapidash minigame, kind of. Actually, this one isn't really a minigame. You can just watch Rapidash run, but you can't control anything. It's kind of cool, I guess. I'm gonna save you a few seconds of your life now and let you know that I tested this on all 7 of the FPO Pokemon cards, and all of them are Rapidash. Okay, wait, how about that weird Manhole card from earlier? Let's try that one out too. If we scan it... Wow, what a plot twist, we get a region error again. So this must be a card that only works with the US e-reader, which makes sense as Manhole was a US exclusive card. So alright, let's scan that US reader. Well, unsurprisingly, this is the actual Manhole game, so you have to control this guy who has to support these holes here and not let anyone fall down. And the harder it gets, the longer you survive. As far as I know, this is the only version of Manhole that's ever been printed with a Pokemon back, as most of them had a promotional back, which makes it a really rare card, and very few of them have been graded. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this really obscure corner of Pokemon history. I hope to make some other videos about rare e-reader scans soon. And as a shameless plug, if you're bored, in the meantime, you can watch me try to RNG Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and do a run of only shiny Pokemon without cheating. Till next time, Viridian signing out.